Today, I'm finally bringing out the big guns. We're going to dive into what I believe is the most fascinating, yet also the most complicated financial market in the world, the foreign exchange market, better known as Forex or simply FX. Now, you've probably heard questions like, why has the Japanese yen been on a steady decline? Can currency markets really be manipulated? What on earth happened with the Turkish lira? And where are the US dollar and the Chinese yuan headed next? Well, those are massive big picture questions. And while Forex can be intimidating, I promise I'll break it down step by step, mixing in theory, real world cases, and even some fun analogies so that by the end of this video, you'll walk away with a solid understanding of how currencies actually work. So grab a cup of tea, or maybe a bubble milk tea if you're like me, and let's jump right in. Let's start with scale. Just how big is this market? Here's some context. When the Chinese stock market is booming, its daily trading volume might reach 1 trillion yuan, which is roughly about 140 billion US dollars. That's huge. But the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq combined, they might hit $300 billion on a busy day. And Forex, the foreign exchange market, sees $7.5 trillion traded every single day. That's 15 times more than the combined US and Chinese stock markets. If you take just one thing away from this video, let it be this: Forex is the largest financial market on earth, period. Inside a country, money works just like a measuring tool. In China, you price goods in yuan. In the US, you price in dollars. In Europe, prices are in euros. Currency acts like a ruler that measures value. So what is Forex? It's basically the global marketplace where all these measuring sticks are traded against one another. For example, how many dollars equal 1 euro? How many yen equal $1? It's like bartering back in the day, trading sheep for rice or rice for tools. Only now the sheep and rice are currencies. Let's make it practical. Suppose you buy USD JPY at 160. That means you bought 10,000 US dollars and sold 1.6 million Japanese yen at the same time. If the market then moves in your favor by 1 pip, that's the smallest unit of change, like 0.01, and USD JPY moves up, you can trade back and earn 100 yen in profit. This is the essence of Forex, always two sides, one currency bought, another sold. This is where things get really interesting. Forex is complicated mainly because so many different players are in it. Individuals exchanging money when they travel abroad, corporations settling international trade bills, central banks managing their economies, hedge funds making speculative bets, and the giant market makers, global banks and brokers who actually provide the liquidity. Unlike the stock market, Forex isn't centralized. There's no New York Stock Exchange for currencies. Instead, it's decentralized. You can trade anywhere, at a bank, through a broker, even privately between two parties. Think of it like a massive second-hand car market. Everyone can buy and sell directly, but most people go through a dealer. In Forex, those dealers are the big banks like JP Morgan, Barclays, and Deutsche Bank. But when the same few players handle a third of the world's currency trading, things can get shady. In 2014, 7 of the world's largest banks, including Barclays, Citibank, and JP Morgan, were fined over $10 billion for manipulating exchange rates. Traders had secret chat groups, literally with names like the Mafia and the Bandits Club. No joke. Every day at 4 p.m. London time, a benchmark exchange rate called the FIX was calculated. These traders colluded to push the euro higher or lower, pocketing profits for years before regulators finally caught on. That's just a reminder, Forex is massive, but it's not always transparent. Now let's shift gears. Imagine you run a company like Apple, or even a smaller one like my hypothetical Lin's Smartphones. You produce phones in China, but sell them in the US. That means your costs are in yuan, but your revenues are in dollars. Here's the problem. If the dollar weakens during your 6-month production cycle, your profits could vanish. So what do companies do? They use hedging tools like forward contracts. For instance, you lock in a rate today with a bank, say 1 USD, sort 7.35 RMB for 6 months in the future. No matter what happens in the market, you're guaranteed that exchange rate, risk managed. Apple and Google both reported billions in losses in 2022 from Forex swings, but they also made billions back from hedging strategies. That's how crucial risk management is. And of course, we can't talk about Forex without mentioning central banks. Many people think they control exchange rates. The truth? They're just another player, albeit with special powers. Central banks intervene in three ways. Capital controls restricting how money flows in or out. Directly buying or selling currencies using their reserves. Setting up swap agreements with other central banks. That last one is especially powerful. For example, China has signed trillions worth of swap lines with different countries, allowing trade in yuan instead of dollars. And not all of it is above board. History is full of deals governments used to hide debt, like Greece using swaps with Goldman Sachs to enter the Eurozone. Finally, speculators. These are the traders looking for quick profits, individuals using chart patterns, hedge funds using leverage, or quants building complex algorithms to scalp a few micropips at lightning speed. Some of the biggest financial dramas in history were born from speculation in currencies. Think George Soros breaking the British pound in 1992, or the collapse of the Russian ruble in 1998 that took down one of the most famous hedge funds ever, LTCM, despite it being run by Nobel Prize winners. So let's recap. The Forex market is the largest financial market in the world, trading over $7.5 trillion daily. It's decentralized, open 24/5, and touches every part of the global economy from tourism to trillion-dollar hedge funds. The main players are market makers, the big banks, corporations managing trade, central banks steering policy, and of course, speculators trying to profit off the swings. And behind the scenes, tools like forwards, swaps, and other derivatives shape how billions in risk are managed every day. We've focused today on the micro side, the players and mechanics of Forex, but this is just part one. In the next episode, we'll step back and look at the macro questions. What really drives exchange rates long term? Why do so many countries peg their currencies to the dollar or the euro? And how do central banks decide when to step in? Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the follow-up. See you in the next one.